Hey y'all, it's Nora, and I'm working on some more random number stuff. And there's a lot wrong with this already, and I debated not making the video because I'm just so ignorant of computation layer. But I'm wondering if when I say it out loud, things will start to make sense. I doubt it because there's just things I just don't know. Let me show you what I'm working on here. So I created this, and it gives them a random equation in slope intercept form. And you can see already the format is goofy. So if my y-intercept is negative, I have plus a negative. I don't know how to just make it minus yet. I can think of a way like using a spreadsheet to make that happen, but with computation layer, I just don't know. So that's that. The other thing I don't know is how to get random numbers and pick and choose my random numbers. So if I only want like, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, skip the 0, and then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how to do that. I also don't know how to get a fraction as my slope. So there's so many limitations on this particular screen that I made, but I'm going to show it to you anyway in the case that it helps somebody. So I have this equation right now, and if I go to graph it, I get the feedback that I'm correct, and I can get a new equation and do that one, and I'm correct, and get another one. And you can see the problem here is my slopes are integers and my y-intercept is weird. I wouldn't want that plus 0 there. I just wouldn't want that to show up at all. So let me show you how to make this very limited activity. Let's see if I remember. Okay, so I will need a note component for directions, a note component for feedback, a button, and a graph. Okay, so let me label some things here. I'm going to call this graph 2. I'm going to call this but 2. And I'm going to call this note 2. Actually, I think I've used 2 already. So I'm just going to go with no numbers. I did have a previous screen and I deleted it. And so screen 1 was originally screen 2. And now this will be this. Okay. I'm going to come in here to the graph component, and I'm going to give 2 ordered pairs that are movable. So I'm going to call them AB, add the sliders, and CD, add those sliders. I want them to have a step function of 1, otherwise it's going to be too difficult for the students to know exactly where that point is. Okay. Then I want it to calculate the slope between those 2 points. So that would be D minus B over C minus A. And then I want it to calculate the y-intercept, and that is BC minus AD over C minus A. All right, so that's what I need to do in there. I have my 2 movable points, and as they move, the slope and the y-intercept are being calculated, and you can kind of check that out here. See how it's calculating them. So I'll be able to compare these calculations with the correct answer. Okay, that's it there. I already forgot. Let me go back. Okay, so in here, I need a random number. So R equals random generator, and this I want to happen with the button. Now again, if you don't want the students to be able to just get equations forever and ever and ever, then don't put this in. It would just be an empty set of parentheses there. All right, I need a random number for my slope, so I'm going to call it slope equals R dot integer, and I'm going to have my slope be something between -3 and +3. Okay, so it's going to get one of those numbers. My y-intercept Again, I want that to be a random integer, and I'm going to go with what will fit on the graph here, -7 to 7. Okay, so now I want directions to show up on this note. So the content of this note, the directions are click and drag the points to create the line, and then we're gonna put this in. So this is where it gets a little funky. It's y equals mx plus b, so it's going to be y equals, and now I need my random slope to show up. So I'm gonna do $, curly brackets, slope, close them, x plus my y-intercept. Okay, so we can see what that looks like here if we preview it. There we go. And if you keep hitting the button, nothing happens. I know why. Because I took the number away from the button. So let's get rid of that. And now we'll try it. There we go. I don't want it to say try it. Get new equation here. Very exciting. All right, now so they know if they're correct or not. Now, here's the thing that took me a while to learn, was that if you establish a variable in one component, it doesn't automatically talk to the other components. So I need to drag those variables in. So in this one here, here's how I'm going to drag in the slope and the y-intercept that were random. So I'm going to call this one, I can't use slope, so I'm just going to add an extra e on the end. This will equal, now where is this coming from? This is coming from that note dot script dot slope. I'm going to have to do that for the y-intercept as well. So y-intercept, I'm going to call it a different variable. I honestly don't know if that's necessary, but it is for me so that I don't get confused. Okay, so now what it did is it pulled those values from the other component into this one, because here is where I'm going to check to see if they're correct. I want to see if those numbers match what the students used in the graph with their movable points. So variable A is checking to see if slope is equal to the number m in the graph. So this is graph dot number m. And I need to check that the y-intercept is correct as well. So y-intercept is equal to graph dot number z. All right, so if the slope in the graph equals the slope that was given and the y-intercept in the graph equals the y-intercept that was given, then they have the correct line graphed. So variable B, when variable A happens, they'll get a little check mark. Otherwise, that means they're wrong and they won't. So positive feedback, negative feedback. All right, now we need this to show up in the note. Content, correct. And then we want variable B to show up. So $, curly brackets, variable B. And that should be it. Let's check. Preview. All right, let's see here. See if it works. So the y-intercept is 6. The slope is -1. That's correct. Get new equation. Now, if you want the teacher to know if this is correct, that's fine. It will let them know what's going on at that moment. So with this, with the button happening, I don't know that that's necessary, but you could add that, just like we did before in other videos. I don't know, I'm having a little bit too much fun with this. I wonder if my students would. But there you go. I hope it helps someone. And if anybody knows how to help me with making this a fraction. And this, oops, I went a little too fast. Well, this nonsense, and also this nonsense. Like, I would prefer that that wasn't there at all, and it just said y equals -4. Okay, everybody. We'll see you next time.